Welcome everyone to the first episode that we're doing here called the Minisode, where the point of this is just to kind of discuss things that we find interesting that we couldn't quite get to during the full podcast. So we're aiming for these to be around anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, a couple topics, something we just want to talk about. So, we'll be doing these every now and then when we really want to talk about something. So look forward to those. So yeah, this is Minisode episode 1. Today we're going to be discussing Season 1 of The Bear, with Season 2 having already dropped last night. We thought it'd be great to go back and rewatch what I think is one of the greatest Season 1s of all time. So we're going to talk about that, and then after we're going to talk about Episode 2 of Better Call Saul, Mijo. So let's get into it. So, Badgie, what did you think after your rewatch of The Bear?
It's like way better than I remember it being. I mean, you got like several banger, especially that episode that I think they filmed completely in one take.
Oh my god,
that is insane.
That episode takes years off your life, man.
Bro, it's chaotic, man.
So one thing that I really appreciated this time around was like the flair of the show, like the way they film things. Not even the cinematography, but the editing, the way they edit scenes together. It kind of goes in style with like what's going on with the chaos of the show. Mm-hmm. Like I love that opening scene where Carmy is walking towards the bear, and then he reaches out for it, and like the camera flips, and it's just like boom, like Carmy waking up out of his sleep. I'm like, that's such.
It looks so good. The show looks like amazing.
Yeah, like it looked like, I'm sure this show's budget was probably relatively small, but like the way they made like use of like every single penny they could. It is so gorgeous to watch. And like I said, like not just the cinematography, man, but like just all the edits, man. The way they edit things together is just so beautifully done. Like from a technical level, like this show is masterful, man. And I feel like one takes have kind of become a gimmick now, where shows and movies do them just to do them. And I feel like the point of a one take, I feel, is like to engross you in a story more, or to tell you something about like what's going on with these characters. And I feel like The Bear probably has one of the best one takes I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's like amazing. Yeah, and then you also have that monologue that he does. It's like 7 minutes, dude. I think it's one take, and
it is one take.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We need to talk about that, and I'm going to throw something on you and I'm going to put you on the spot because I've had time to think about it, but we'll talk about it. But yeah, no, I guess let's start from the beginning. So the actor who plays Carmy, Jeremy Allen White, this guy, like his performance, he gives off this energy of like being on the brink of exploding. Like he has like this like silent intensity about him where when you look on his face, you can see like all the worries in the world are just on his face. Mm-hmm. Like he looks like he's reached his boiling point, one more bad day, and he's going to end up like he did in episode 7, like popping off on everyone. And, like,
dude, it's so real, this show. I mean, I think it's more real than any show I've ever watched. Like the characters are so...
I've met every single one of these characters before.
Yes. They're so real.
I've met like the kind of depressed or like repressed like genius in Carmy. I've met people like that. I've met people like what was her name, Gina, right? The older Dominican lady who like she's like the older person who doesn't like being told what to do by the younger person. And she's a bitch.
I think it's Tina,
yes, it's Tina. And then I've met Marcus, the guy who makes the donuts. Like I've met guys like that who who get inspired and then they can't seem to focus. Like all these people are so real. And I've met Richie before. Yes, I think I was Richie when I was younger too, man. Like I'll be honest, like I was Richie, a fucking asshole, Like,
yeah, man. I watch a lot of shows, and a lot of times it's a good show, but the characters don't feel like they're someone you'd actually meet. They feel kind of cartoony in a way. Like even in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, but like in this show, these people just seem like people I'd run into.
Mm-hmm. No, they feel real, and that's like such a great testament to the writing, but not just to the writing, but the performances. Like just the way they speak. I feel sometimes like shows try to use cursing as a way to look cooler, but dude, like, I mean, you've seen how I speak. I talk just like
Mhm.
them, you know?
Yep.
Like, they talk like they're real people. Like, this world that they're in, it feels so real. It feels so lived in. Like,
Yes.
the chaos of it. And if you've ever worked in the kitchen, which I have, I was an assistant manager at a Denny's, man. Like, you relate to that freaking craziness that happens in the show. Like, it is so
Yeah,
well
man.
done. Um,
Dude, it's an intense show too at moments. Like it could have you like stressing with it puts you in there with them stressing
mhm.
out.
And I think that's the genius of the one take. Like I said, I feel now, like, I'm not some big film buff, but I believe so. One of the things that popularized the one take, I think, was Daredevil here in America. The
Yeah.
hallway scene, but Daredevil got that from the Raid Redemption. Almost like it feels like almost shot for shot. But
Hmm.
in terms of inspiring like American filmmakers, or at least starting a trend, I think Daredevil started the trend more, or it made it more prevalent of the one take. And I think it worked
Yeah.
really well in season 1 of Daredevil, but then in season 2 and 3, it became less about like the storytelling. Like in the first, I don't want to get off track, but like in the first one take of Daredevil, I don't know if you remember that hallway scene. Just that
Uh
fight, it felt so raw. The heavy breathing, like it puts you in the story of like Matt Murdock, a man who would not quit. There's no giving up. He will, do his objective and all that. But as we
yeah.
progressed, they became less about the storytelling and more about, well, we have to one up the one take. And it became more
Hmm.
grander in scale and less about the storytelling. And that's how I feel a lot of the one take stuff has what it's become here is like
Yes.
it's more of a look what we can do, but it's
Yeah.
not look
It's
what
like
we
a
can
flashy
yeah,
thing.
but it's not like look what we can do with it,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
bear has probably the best use of a one take that I've seen in television, because when it
Dude,
comes to movies, I mean, there's better stuff. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Children of Men. There's like a crazy
never
one,
seen it.
yeah. But for television, man, I don't think it gets better than the bear. And their one takes.
It felt so natural, man. Like that whole one take was just it felt so real. It felt like you're in there with them, and
Yeah.
that's what they do a lot
And you
through
know
the
what's
whole show.
crazy? We're like 10 minutes in, dude, and we're still only talking about like the technical aspects of the show. Like
Oh
we
yeah,
haven't even gotten into the characters, man. And like
dude, so much depth with the characters. You know,
all of them.
Carmy, yes, all of them. They all have depth, and I really like what they did with Carmy. I mean, of course, this show. You know, if you think it's kind of a feel good show,
Towards
but
the end,
it's yes,
but it's
and
dealing with so much real shit. Like, I've suffered losses in my life, and I feel
yeah,
like there's many ways to handle it, because when you first meet like Richie, this guy is
yep,
such an asshole, man. He's
yep,
unbearable, but the more you get to know him, and I think especially in episode 7, like it's an act. He's putting on an
yep.
act because I think episode 7 starts with the flash. No, it might be episode 6 or 7. It starts with the flashback of Carmy's brother, and
Yes.
and it shows Richie laughing and cracking up and smiling like we've never seen him smile. And then the
Hmm.
very next scene after that, it cuts to Richie just standing there alone, by himself, no one there, and he's just like looking like shattered, like his world is destroyed. But um, the moment it's time to open the store, and let a customer in, hey, what's up? If it isn't Mr. Dickless or whatever, like
Yeah.
that's how he copes with his trauma, is putting on this act. And I think he pushes people away because he's
Yeah.
afraid to lose them the way he lost Mikey.
Yeah. He
And
even says, I think in like episode 3, he says that Mikey was his best friend. You know,
yeah,
like he's the person he cared about the most.
yeah, I mean, he has a strained relationship with his kids, his
Hmm.
girl. He knows that he alienates people, that people don't like him. Like
Yep.
Mikey was his last person, man. And I think, now this is just speculation, but I think he might feel guilt about Mikey's death because Mikey was a drug addict and he knew it,
Yes.
but he didn't do anything about it. And this is just speculation, but maybe he was too afraid to get Mikey the help that he needed because he didn't want Mikey
Yeah.
to be mad at him or to.
Yeah, that kind of thing is hard, man. I know a little bit about that kind of thing, and
Yeah,
it's difficult to stop people because they're adults. You know, you don't
yeah,
want to get in their way. You don't want to tell them what to do.
yeah.
You know.
And like, and then with Carmy, man, the way he's dealing with his trauma, like, basically just throwing himself into his work and making himself busier than ever. And like, even his sister says, like, Carmy, like, have you grieved? Like, like, we need to grieve, and he just keeps blowing her off. His
Yep.
sister is a very underrated character, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she is, man. And like Carmy, I think okay. The question is there there's a lot of shows coming out. I think this one could pick up the crown. Cuz right now there's a big field on what's going to be the next big show,
Yeah, I agree.
like with impeccable writing. And I think this show might pick up the crown.
According to the reviews for season 2, man, it's looking like it. I've seen the first episode. It's very different. That's one thing I've seen with the reviews. It's like it's almost like a different show at times. And when you compare the opening scene of the first episode of season 1 with season 2, they're like worlds apart. And
Yeah.
in a good way. Like, I like what they're doing with it. But yeah, no, I agree with you. This might be the one, dude.
Yeah, man.
I kind of wish, like, I know it feels good to have everything all at once, but I kind of wish
Yes.
this show released weekly.
Yeah, me too. Me too,
Because,
man.
like, it's been like over a year and a half of me making content. And one thing I've realized is, honestly, man, I think weekly releases are better than dumping everything at once.
It builds hype,
It builds hype.
for the show.
It gives you time to
Releasing
think.
the whole thing, it's not going to be as popular if they release the whole thing.
It won't have the
You know,
legs like the legs
yeah,
later.
everybody's just going to watch it in a day and then be like, okay, done. If they release it weekly, over time, more and more people are going to be talking about it. They're
Yeah.
going to have time to talk about it.
Um, what was one of your favorite, like, who was one of your favorite side characters in The Bear? Like, there's so many great ones, man, and they all had some great development.
That's going to be difficult. Probably, I don't know, man. Probably Ricky. I don't know.
You mean Richie?
Yeah, Richie. Yeah.
I really like Tina, man. Tina
Yeah.
grows so much. The way she was treating what's her name? Is it Sam? No,
Sydney.
Sydney. The way she treats Sydney is really, really messed up. And then, like, she grows so much. Like, I think with Tina, she's like, they all deeply care about the restaurant. They
Yes.
all deeply cared about Mikey. And the thing with Tina is, I think she's, well, for one, she's afraid of change.
Hmm.
And I think she lacked kind of like a foundation in her life, something that was solid. And you could tell, I think she suffers from almost like a lack of confidence, because
Yeah.
when she's preparing those mashed potatoes and then she gives it to Sydney, he's like, there you go. Tell me how shitty it is. And then when Sydney says,
Yes.
it tastes great, like, the way her face lit up, like, that little
Dude,
moment meant
that scene
everything to
is
her.
so good, man. Yeah. I really loved that scene. And that it's understandable that like cuz she's been in there like since before everyone
Yeah.
probably almost like
Yeah.
when it started.
Yeah.
And like this lady who just came in telling me what to do,
Who the hell are you?
you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've been here forever.
Small moment, but I really liked that. And then from that moment, like, her demeanor changed, and it got to the point where, Richie wouldn't stop, like, blabbering, and she's the one who had to pull him to the side and, like, Richie, you're fucking this up. We have
Yep.
something good going here. This place can be something. And that was a big moment of growth for her.
Yes,
Um,
finally she has some confidence.
Yeah, and not every character had like crazy depth, but one of my favorite side characters was like the guy who fixes everything, the chubbier dude with the tats.
Oh yeah, that guy's hilarious.
He's hilarious, and that was another bit of character growth for Richie at the end, offering him the job.
Yep.
Like showing how much Richie had grown. But he was hilarious. Marcus and his damn donuts drove me crazy,
Yeah?
dude. Like,
Like what's that?
during episode 7, when everything's going insane, instead of working on his damn cakes, this dude's still working on the freaking
Yeah.
donut. And I
Yeah,
remember,
he did mess that up,
and I
man.
remember me and my wife, it's like, this guy's still working on, like, when we first watched it, like, oh my God, dude, like, you're supposed to be working on the damn cakes. Dude,
You think he deserved to get the donut slapped out of his hand?
nah, man, that I felt bad for him because it's like, I think he really looked, I think Carmy brought out passion in a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think he brought it out of, well, I don't think Sydney necessarily needed it, but Carmy was someone that she like respected.
yeah,
And I think the way Carmy was always respectful and open to everyone, like how he would encourage people, I think a lot of these people lacked encouragement and in their lives from someone respectable. Because not to be mean, everybody loved Mikey, but he was a drug addict. And
yeah,
you see how Marcus's face lights up with Carmy's like cookbook or like the photos of all the meals he's made and how
yeah,
much interest it takes, and then Carmy like kind of helps bring that out of him. And
yeah. Just to slap it out of his hand
yeah,
in the
no,
heat
that
of the moment.
yeah, and even Carmy realized he fucked up after when he tasted the donut. He's probably like he
Yeah,
got it. He got the perfect donut. But
yep.
yeah, so there's just dude, this season is just so special to me, man. Like it's just there's not one flaw that it's not a flaw. Okay, it's not a flaw, but how did Mikey get the money in the tomato cans?
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Well, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know how he did that. I
Because
mean, maybe do they make the tomato cans? I don't know. Maybe he had them specially made at some
I don't
place.
know. It's not really important, you know.
Yeah, it's not.
Um, dude, it upset me so much how Richie hid that note from him,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But in the end, he gave it to him.
and he explained why. Like,
Yeah.
giving that letter to Carmy was him basically accepting that Mikey was gone. I think this entire show is just about like processing your trauma, dealing with grief, how you deal with it, what happens when you don't treat your trauma.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating. Like I said, like I've been through stages of grief before where I kind of act more like Carmy, where I bottle it all inside. I pretend like it's not there. And next thing you know, days later, I'm like exploding on people or crying or whatever it is, you know. And there's been times where I'm like Richie, where I just I want to make others feel as shitty as I feel, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And like what I love though is they both grow so much, man. I love that a small detail, but every time Carmy would go to a meeting, he was super covered up, hat on,
Hmm.
kind of hiding. But by the final
Yes.
episode, he was like everything was off. Like he was just there
He
speaking.
opened up.
He opened
Yep.
up, dude. That monologue, man. My God, it is so
Dude.
good.
Yes, it is. It's amazing. The acting that he does, and just in that scene alone,
Yeah,
like it's amazing.
like that's why people like were like, you know, who would you rather give the Emmy to? And I'm like, I kind of want to give it to him. They're like over Bob Odenkirk. Kind of like what does Bob Odenkirk have in season 6 that compares to that? Like, because remember,
Yeah,
they don't give it off seasons. It's like they pick certain episodes. So, what episode in Better Call Saul does he have that can like match that?
that's hard, because he
He does,
deserves it,
but
but probably not for the episode that they're giving it to him.
like the thing with that though is the bear might be in the comedy category. So if that's the case, who do you give it to then? Bill Hader for I think for that I think it might be season 3 of Barry. So season 3 Bill
Yeah,
Hader or Jeremy Allen White for Carmy.
dude,
So okay,
dude, that's
okay, hold
so
up.
hard, man.
So it would be episode 8 of Barry season 3 or episode 8 of The Bear. Dude,
Oh man,
it better not be Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. I'll tell you that much, man.
yeah,
I can't believe he won over Bill Hader, but yeah, that's a tough one, dude.
that's insane. I would never be able to choose.
I think for the degree of difficulty, I might go with Carmy, just for
Yeah,
that one take scene, dude. Like it's really hard to do that kind of stuff.
yeah, it is. But like
Um,
some of the acting Bill Hader did was top
incredible.
notch.
Okay, here's the
Yeah.
question: what's a better one take scene, Chicanery or Carmy's monologue?
Oh man, dude. Okay, that's hard not to be biased, man. I love Better Call Saul so much.
So here's the thing: Carmy's monologue is, I think it might be more impressive because, well, it's more impressive in this certain way, the length of it, the length.
Oh yeah.
But Michael McKean, who gave the most underappreciated performance in the whole Breaking Bad universe, his performance, like the wide range of emotions that he goes through in one scene, is insane. Yes. How long is the chicanery scene? Do you know?
I think it's like 4 minutes or something like that. 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, so like they're like, if I had to pick one, I really don't know, dude. And they're both such massive payoffs too. Like I just something I thought I'd throw on you,
dude. Chuck's one take scene, I think. Does he let out more emotion?
Oh, dude, he goes through so many different ranges of emotions but like that's the thing though. That's kind of so it's like saying he's more Bryan Cranston and Jeremy Allen White is more Bob Odenkirk, right? Yeah. Bryan Cranston's performance was very colorful. It was more like amped, right?
Yes.
Versus Saul versus Bob Odenkirk, who was a much more subdued, nuanced performance. So like they're very different performances, but dude, they're both so good. They're both have like incredible writing. I don't know, dude. I can't pick one. I just thought I'd throw that on you. Whoever's listening to this, like, let us know what's better, Chicanery or Carmy's monologue. Let us know. Just kind of what are some of your just kind of closing thoughts or overall thoughts on season 1 of The Bear?
I want to talk about how Jeremy Allen White, he acts like just with his eyes. Like there's certain scenes where he's silent. He's not even like saying anything. He's not doing anything.
That's what I'm saying. And you feel that tension within his mind. Like when you look at his face, like he just gives off this vibe like he's holding the whole weight of the world inside of him.
Yeah, you can tell exactly what he's thinking. Like his exact thoughts, how he feels in the moment. Just with the silent scene. And like not a lot of actors can do that.
No, and a perfect embodiment of that scene is right before he opens his brother's letter. The way he's standing there alone, the way he's staring at it. Like, there's so much going on. And then, dude, talk about that payoff, man. His brother left him like I love you, dude. Let it rip. Bro, that made me cry when I first watched it. Because it's like, because you feel like what Carmy's feeling. Like, he did love me. You know, he did love me. He did care about me. Because, you know, they had a strained relationship. And for whatever reason, his brother kind of pushed him away. And then Carmy took that as like, well, fuck you. Like, I'm going to push you away. But in the end, he loved his brother.
I think why do you think his brother might have done that? Do you think it might have been a way to push him to reach a higher limit? Like, get better?
It's just I've never had a brother, man, so I really don't know. It's hard to say. Thing. And speaking of like Carmy and his brother, I really love the fact that we don't know why his brother killed himself, because it's so, again, like this show is real. A lot of the times we don't get to say goodbye to our loved ones. We don't know why they do the things we do, and we never will.
Yeah.
And like, and with Carmen's, like, I hope they don't reveal in season 2 what exactly was going on. We don't need to know. It's not important, but I just like that detail. It's so real, man. Sometimes we just don't know, and we never will. But yeah, dude, that scene with Mikey, Jon Bernthal, man. Oh my gosh, he owned that scene, dude. Like,
yes, he did.
And the way he gave off every description of Mikey that we've heard throughout the show, like, he made you feel like you were best friends. He lit up the room. His smile. He was so charismatic. Like, everything that people said about him in one scene, Jon Bernthal brought this character to life in a way.
They cut away from all the stress just to show the happiness in that just one scene
that he brought to everyone.
Yes,
and
then right after that they cut to
Richie.
The chaos.
No, I think they cut to. That's when they cut to Richie. I think that's the episode where we got a lot of depth with Richie. Was that episode? Because the way I see it is he was thinking back to that memory. That's how I see it. Because in the very next scene, he's on a date with a chick and he's trying to tell the story that Mikey was telling. You know, and it's just man. But Jon Bernthal just came in there and just dominated like the whole scene, dude.
He did.
Like
He did. Jon Bernthal is so good, man.
he is, man. He's one of the most I don't even want to say he's underrated, but like this man needs his own movie, you know, because
Yes.
he kills every supporting role he ever does. But yeah, no, every single description, everything you thought of Mikey in your head, whether you knew it or not, when you saw Jon Bernthal, you're like, that's Mikey.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I don't want to get off topic, but that really makes me think. Like a lot of times, it's a problem with actors. A lot of very good actors are wasted talent because they don't get as many roles as they deserve.
Yeah.
Like
I
I've
agree.
watched a lot of movies with actors who only have like 2 movies that are huge, like amazing movies, and
And
like they
but
deserve more roles.
no, I agree, and I love the fact that I would consider Jon Bernthal a star. He may not be like a Robert Downey Jr. type star or a Chris
Yeah.
Hemsworth leading man, but he's a star in the sense that every director wants to work with him. He's getting
Mhm.
offers left and right. He's one of the most in demand people. So a
Yes.
star
Every
like
time something comes out, you
right,
watch it. I mean,
a
it's Jon
s-
Bernthal.
right. So a star like him was more than willing to take a 2 minute role. You
Yeah.
know, a big name actor like because I hate to say it, but it's changing now because television, because of streaming, and they're probably handing out bigger paychecks and all it's turning
Yep.
into more of a prestige thing. But for many, 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 many years, if you're a big actor, you don't do television. You just don't.
Yes.
You just don't.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that now that a lot of actors are starting to do I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He finally did a TV show.
Yeah. I
But
still need to watch that.
Stallone, look at Stallone, and not just them, but
Yep.
like a lot of other big actors are starting to move towards television. But I love the fact that Jon Bernthal could just, hey, I have this role for you. You play a brother. Okay. You're really only in it for about 2 minutes. Yeah, let's do it. Like a lot of actors with egos, man. No, no, thank you. Pass,
Yeah.
pass.
And that kind of worries me though too, because one thing I like about TV shows is I always like every show I've watched, it's introduced me like pretty much most shows. I don't know any of the actors that
Yeah.
I watch. You know,
No,
like
yeah.
Succession. I didn't know a single one of these people.
I just knew Brian Cox, and he was the big
Yep.
name on that show.
Yep.
And that's another guy, the guy who played uh hmm the bad guy in season 4, the one who's trying to
Don't
buy
remember.
Waystar.
Yeah, Madsen.
Yes, that's I think his name
I
is
don't know the actor's
his
name.
I think he's Alexander Skarsgård, but this guy played Tarzan. This guy had his own movie in The Northman. Like he's a movie star, right?
Yeah.
This guy's big time, but he was willing to come down here on TV to take the smaller role. Like I love that, man. I love
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, getting back to the topic of it now, man. Jon Bernthal really just he brought Mikey to life. He gave Mikey so much life, and I don't know if this is meant to be a commentary or not, but this is so true to life, man. Where people who suffer with depression and suicidal thoughts, literally the day before you see them, or the day before they kill themselves, you spent a day with them where you guys were laughing, having the
Yep.
time of your life, and the next day he shot himself on a bridge.
Yep. Sometimes you just can't tell, man.
Yeah,
And you don't know what's gonna happen.
and I don't know if that was intentional, but this is something that because we don't know when this was, right?
Yeah.
But I think
yeah.
they're just showing that he was so full of life and so lovable and charming, and he still took his own life.
Yeah, and there's some people like that where like they just bottle it up and they put on a performance.
Yeah,
You know.
and that could have
seem
been
happy.
Mikey. That could have been Mikey,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
But just I guess closing thoughts on season 1 of The Bear for me is this is truly one of the greatest seasons of television I've ever seen. The performances from the cast all around, even to the smallest supporting roles like the older African gentleman. Ibra, like when Tina tells him, Ibra, stop being a bitch. That is sexist. Like, dude, I was dying. Or like the guy who's the dishwasher, the guy who fixes everything. Like these, even to the smallest little performances, like
The
everyone.
whole cast killed it, man.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I really hope everybody, like some of these people are veterans. Like Tina, I've seen her. Ibra, I haven't seen. The guy who plays Marcus, man, he's so charismatic. He's so charming. I really hope he gets more roles.
Yeah.
The person who plays Samantha, what was her name? Well,
I
whatever.
don't know.
Whatever. I hope
Yeah.
she gets more roles. Like everybody, man, everybody. Like this is one of the most well acted shows, one of the realest shows. Perfect pacing from a technical standpoint. It is like monumental. Like it is an achievement, like worth celebrating. Writing,
Yes.
technical prowess, acting. Like, dude, it's a 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Yeah. Is there going to be a season 3? I wonder.
Probably if this, it's all dependent on ratings, dude.
If there is, I think they're going to pick up The Crown, man. They're going to be the next big show
Well,
that everybody's watching.
I don't like giving shows a crown until they repeat their success. So if season 2 is an
Yeah.
absolute banger, then it's time to give the crown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any closing thoughts for you?
Not really. It's just a really great show. I can't wait. Right after this episode, I'm going to watch season 2.
Yeah,
I'm going to
let's
start
do it,
season 2.
man. All right then. So let's move on to episode 2 of Better Call Saul. Do you want to start?
It is an intense episode. It's not the greatest episode, but it's definitely intense. I mean, it's not a bad episode either.
No.
But there's not a single bad episode of Better Call Saul. But it's the point where when I first watched, I wasn't really sure if this show was going to be good.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but like when I first watched, it's not. I wasn't that interested in Mijo.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. Not movie, show.
Dude,
episode.
But like it takes you right back to Breaking Bad.
Yep, it does.
The
it
intensity of it. So for me, an intense opening. The twins are incredibly frustrating and stupid. I hate those guys. Abuelita is so cute. She's just such a sweet woman, man. I've met so many old Mexican ladies like her. She reminds me of my mom too.
Yeah.
And something that I don't know if this was on purpose that I never really thought about, but we see a different side to Tuco, a caring side. I think this adds a bit of depth to Tuco's character, man. When he's off the drugs, he's a kind and caring grandson. Not person,
Yeah, man.
grandson, at least.
What do you think happened to Abuelita? Like after Better Call Saul?
Maybe she passed away, man. She's pretty old.
Yeah. Yeah.
He takes care of his abuelita. He probably lives with her to take care of it, or she lives with him, more like it. This might also be a comment on what drug use does to a person. The Tuco we see in these scenes is quiet, calm, rational, and it's a big difference from who he is in Breaking Bad when he's on meth. He's almost scarier this way. Like the silent intensity that he has, dude. Like it gives it off like Gus Fring vibes,
Yep.
But like, I don't know if I'm misinterpreting that or not, but or maybe it was just accidental, but I feel like it does add some character, because even Nacho says it in a later episode, man. When he's on the shit, he's like a completely different person. And we see him, like, obviously he was already he was back on drugs, but in Breaking Bad, when he's taking care of his uncle, of Hector,
Yeah, it shows he's not heartless.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of is.
And then, and damn, does Raymond Cruz own the screen? He feels bigger than he really is. I met the guy. I'm 6'1". He's shorter. He's like 5'9", dude. The gravitas he has me thinking that he's like 6'7". Like he feels bigger than life. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's so good as.
Yeah.
Like he's terrifying. Like in every scene, even like in the beginning of Breaking Bad, he's scary, man.
Oh hell yeah, dude. So after that, next Saul walks into the picture. This is Saul Goodman at his best. He's just blabbering endlessly, hoping to get his way out of things. That's his greatest weapon, his mouth. And even Tuco recognized it after Saul gives him that whole spiel in his house. And Tuco is so freaking hilarious in this episode, bro. And then Tuco's response, "Wow, you got a mouth on you." Yeah, dude, he's so funny, dude. Like this episode is hilarious.
Oh yeah, it is.
Even with these small funny moments, the tension never drops. You can feel an intense amount of tension from now until the end of the desert scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, and these scenes really show how much of a performer Jimmy is. That's what he is. Yeah. He's a performer.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's like a court jester, man.
Yeah, man. He just goes out and he just talks. He talks and talks and talks. his problems away.
But Raymond Cruz, like, he doesn't get enough credit for how good his performance is, because like there's Bryan Cranston, then there's Bob Odenkirk, and then you have someone in the middle like the guy who plays Nacho. 3 very different performances, and those are the kinds of performances that get like critical praise. But Raymond Cruz's performance is a whole different kind of performance. It's a more physical performance, and it has
to be hard to do.
Yeah, and it's very dependent on his delivery. But the way he speaks, the raspiness in his voice, the intensity in his eyes, like, it doesn't get enough credit. And like I said, wow, you got a mouth on, like, dude. He's scary as hell, man. Like,
he is, bro. He is.
It's incredible how the writers make us feel fear for a character, Jimmy, that we know is going to survive. How do you add stakes to a prequel? This is exactly how you do it. By introducing new characters that we like, or because we don't like them, or don't know the fates of.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the desert scene, man. Wow. The intensity of it, dude.
That scene gives a little bit of insight on the character of Nacho, I think.
Oh yeah,
they show that he's more human than they are.
Yeah, and that's why he probably would have outlived them all if he didn't get himself in that situation. Yeah, but the desert scene, man, wow, the intensity. If it's perfectly in line with the raw intensity of Breaking Bad. And just side notes, it feels good to see Gonzo and No Dose. Those guys, once again, Saul just spits out verbal diarrhea at 1,000,000 miles a minute. And here we get the introduction of Nacho, one of the best characters, man.
Oh, dude, I love Nacho, man.
Yeah. The music in this scene is phenomenal. Like the quiet score that's just making things amp up. So good.
Oh, yeah.
Tuco putting pliers on Saul is crazy. Saul saying he's in the FBI is so Saul Goodman, bro.
Dude, like, it's that whole scene is hilarious, man. I remember the first time I watched it, just laughing the entire scene.
Operation Kingbreaker. That must be on the king. You know, like, it's so stupid. And then and this is what makes Nacho different. He's not stupid enough to really fall for this shit.
Yeah,
you know?
He knows.
Oh, and I have that here. But here's what separates Nacho from the guys like Tuco. His intelligence, his cunning. He's not easily fooled, and he's the voice of reason. He's not gullible like Tuco. It's possible that Nacho was an anchor to Tuco and kept him sane, and probably saved his ass many times over in, like, before we ever got to Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
And I already touched on this, but Tuco is so incredibly hilarious. That makes me the king. He's so stupid.
Oh, you want me to blind him?
Dude, we haven't even gotten to that part yet, but yeah. The silent intensity of Nacho is great as well when he tells Saul to tell the truth. Like, Nacho is smaller in stature, he's skinny, but when he speaks, you listen.
Yep.
You take him seriously. Like, he gives off a certain amount of respect. We get to see that Nacho is a reasonable person when he wants to get Tuco to let Saul go, but as we start to learn, there's so much more to that. Nacho is a planner. Nacho thinks ahead. Having a friend as a possible contact and or ally is a smart business move, but the main reason is he recognizes that he can use Saul to scam the Kittlemans.
Yeah.
He's smart and he's not stupid, but he's also not a brutal dog and is so quick to issue death like Tuco. This is what makes him special from those in this drug world. It's like he will kill. He will brutalize someone. But it's not his go-to. He thinks. He stops to think.
Yeah, he'll try to save a life if he can.
Yep. That realization that Saul gets to go, but the twins are stuck, sucks. And watching Saul go back for them is like, I'm watching it. I'm like, what the hell, bro? Just get out of there. They're stupid, and there's a reason you're here. Fuck them. Because they couldn't keep their mouths shut.
Yeah, and the thing about that, it shows a very big difference between Breaking Bad Saul and Better Call Saul Jimmy. Because in Breaking Bad, Saul would have left. He'd be gone.
Bro, it was his idea to just kill Badger.
Yep. Or Hank, Jesse. He doesn't care. He's heartless in Breaking Bad, but in this situation, it shows you how much more human he was.
And I put that there, but Saul's conscience won't just let them leave them there.
Yeah.
What follows is arguably one of, if not the greatest, and I put quotes on this, courtroom scenes of all time. For sure one of the most intense, because when you really think about it, Saul is arguing in front of a court. He's got the judge, jury, and executioner right there.
Yep.
Think of when he when he tries putting that line of thinking to Tuco, like, these kids have mothers, and he says, think about their mother, and Tuco, I spit on their mom. Bro, I was dying, dude. I was like, Tuco was so funny, man. Watching Saul trying to talk down a madman is so incredibly intense and also hilarious. The tension in the scene is insane, but Tuco keeps the scene grounded with him being such an idiot. He's so stupid. Once again, Saul's verbal diarrhea, just saying everything and anything to keep these dudes alive. The story about their hardworking mom. You're tough, but you're fair. Oh no, this line killed me when after he decides everything, and Tuco's like, or he's telling Tuco, you're tough, but you're fair. You're all about justice. And then Tuco's like, that's what I'm saying. Justice. It's justice. Like, it's so stupid, dude. And then, the Hammurabi's codes. Like, you ever heard of Hammurabi's code? An eye for an eye? So you want me to blind them? All they did was trash talk, so I cut their tongues out. So freaking
bro. Colombian neckties.
That was my next thing. Saul says, make the punishment fit the crime. Colombian neckties. And I put, bro is hilarious. And then when No Dose kind of tells him, like, what is No Dose saying this? Not who you're working for, but or he's the boss or something like that, because he's the boss. And then Tuco just, I think
he says he's already got a black guy, fool, or something. And he's like, oh yeah, stop helping.
Yeah, or stop talking. Dude, I'm telling you, Raymond Cruz's performance is so good, bro. Like, stop talking. Oh my god. And that's a little foreshadowing with No Dose. Don't interrupt Tuco. Saul's brilliance is incredible. What's harder, talking down the U.S. government from over 100 years to 7, or talking down Tuco from killing people? I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Tough but fair. They shake on it. Tuco treating this like a business transaction just cracks me up every time, dude. And then he shakes his hand and everything, like, it's just like, and then the very next scene, one of the most goated lines in the show. You're the worst lawyer ever. Hey, I just talked you down from a death sentence to 6 months probation. I'm the best
lawyer ever. Dude, so good. It's such a good scene, man.
It's one of the best in the whole show, man. Like, it's just the intensity of it, like the music, the performances, the cinematography of it, everything, man.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Saul in the bar. You just know his game is smooth. This dude probably bags hella women,
Yeah.
Jimmy went from puking after the legs incident to about to choke an old woman to death, beginning and ending. Like, he was literally, barfing because of that while on a date. And we go from that to him almost about to choke to death. I forget her name, but lady in season 6. Yeah. So it's just kind of interesting. Anything you want to add so far?
Not really. Not right now, no.
Okay. So next scene, it's so interesting to see Chuck and his disease for the first time in full effect. Something as simple as him picking up a phone is like near death to him. His mental state.
We learn a bit about his condition, man.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to his mental state from the beginning is very fragile. Like, we can tell. Then I put Michael McKean is such a great actor. Probably the most underrated performance in the Breaking Bad universe, which I agree with. Obviously, I read it, but Chuck in the space blanket is such a WTF moment. Like, we don't exactly know what is up with Chuck, but it's so odd and interesting. Like out of everything these showrunners could have done, them picking this specific thing, like, to make, it's just like, it's very interesting, and it definitely keeps you guessing, like, what's going on here.
Yeah.
I think Jamie from the beginning knew that this was all BS, but he was so desperate to get Chuck's love and approval that he put up with it and ultimately failed to get Chuck the help that he really needed. He had so many chances to do so, and this is just what we see during the show. Who knows what
Oh
happens
yeah.
before the show starts, where he could have had Chuck get help. He
Yeah.
could have ruined his relationship with his brother, but ultimately saved him, you know?
It's another thing, like, that's like very similar to addicts. You don't want to tell an adult what to do. When they don't want to do it, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to do.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I agree. Jimmy looks so ashamed when he brings up the emergency bill. He doesn't want his brother to see Slipping Jimmy, a man he despises. He wants him to see Jimmy. He tried to
Yep.
prove to Chuck that he's not that guy anymore. And you could tell kind of like that look of disgust, or like the tone in his voice that Chuck gives off, like you're really doing this shit again, you know?
Yep.
Go ahead. Did you want to add something?
No.
Oh, okay. Jimmy giving that court lady a teddy bear shows how smart Jimmy is and how he is always willing to bend the rules, even little things like that, to get a case that he wants, or to get ahead in the line of getting cases assigned to him.
And you see this like her thing. You look in the background. There's like a billion
Yeah,
teddy bears.
probably
and,
all
like,
from Jimmy, dude.
yeah, maybe.
And then we get a great montage of Jimmy just being a good citizen, trying to be straight. How did you interpret this montage?
Oh, dude, the montage was amazing. It's one of the. I think it's probably
First of
one of
all,
the best
Better Call Saul is
montages.
the absolute king of montages. But anyways, continue.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it is definitely one of the best montages. I think. It's based on a movie about a man who's working himself to death. You know how he says it's showtime, folks.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's a reference to a movie about a man working himself to
Really?
death. Yeah. So it's interesting to see that.
I think.
It's. What do you think?
Well, I think it could be. It shows Jimmy trying to live the straight life, and I think the more
Yeah.
time goes on, the less what's the word? Not happy, but the less content Jimmy is with this life. And as we get towards the end of it, you see him spilling his coffee, like his coffee completely falls over and it's just pouring.
Yeah.
And things are just getting worse and worse, and the montage is speeding up and speeding up, and it's like, I think it's meant to show us just the in Jimmy's eyes,
Yeah.
the mundaneness of being the straight man, of doing
Yes.
things the right way, because to Jimmy, like, this must be like purgatory. This is like worse than
Yeah.
hell. He's stuck
The
in the middle.
stress that he's having, it's like it's intense. I think what he's feeling, it's not him. It's not what he's used to. He can't do it.
And he's doing this for Chuck. Like he just had this whole thing with Chuck. Like, Chuck, I swear nothing's going on. That's not me anymore. I think he's doing this to prove to Chuck.
And that's why the relationship between Chuck and Jimmy, it hurts so much, man, because you see how hard Jimmy is trying to make his brother proud.
Yeah. And
he never really does it.
No. But yeah, great montage. I think there's more going on there, but I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then some other notes. Mike and the stickers, man, absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I did take notes here. So some other stuff. What do you think the montage represents? I put the mundaneness of Jimmy being the good guy, his discontent, a master at work, like just how hard Jimmy works. As more time passes, Jimmy's frustration continues to build.
Yeah.
And then, Jimmy in that nail salon, sad stuff, and him pouring that drink. Shades of who he becomes, really. A sad drunk.
Yeah. And that final scene with Nacho, man. I think that's the next scene, right?
Yeah, and then we get introduced to Bill Oakley this episode, which is awesome. I love Bill Oakley.
Oh, yeah.
And then kind of like Nacho. Yeah, the final scene, man. I mean, what did you think about that final scene with Nacho?
Okay, so Nacho saying, Saul saying, I'm a lawyer, not a criminal.
Yeah.
And Nacho can see it in him. He can see who he really is.
And this is
unlike
what makes Nacho special. He sees people for who they really are.
Yep, and he says, "You're shitting me," and he gives him his phone number. He says, "When you know you're in the game."
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to accept it because he wants to make his brother proud. He says, "No, I'm not in the game."
But like always, Jimmy can't keep his hands out of the cookie jar, like Chuck would say.
Yep.
The temptation of taking the easy way out, it's too much for him. It's too much.
Yes.
And like I said, Nacho Nacho's smart, man. He can see that Jimmy's lying to himself. He knows. That's why he leaves him his
Yeah,
card. It's like a little kind of push in the right direction, you know?
yeah, and it's so genius what they do like through the whole show with Saul balancing these two personas, trying to stay away from what Chuck doesn't want him doing. But even when he does do the right thing, Chuck doesn't show him any support
The
in
only
what
time
he in doing the right thing.
the only time Jimmy ever gets love for people or rewarded in any way is when he does the wrong thing. Because time
Yeah,
and time again, he does things the right way, and if for whatever reason it doesn't go his way, he doesn't get any acknowledgement for it or anything like that. At the very least, when he cons people, Kim likes it, and
yep,
that helps him
yep.
bond. So it's like every time he does the right thing, he gets punished for it in his eyes. You know?
Yeah. And later in the series, I know this is off topic of the episode,
Hmm.
they have that song The Winner Takes It All.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the lyrics, it really tells a lot
I,
about Jimmy. I think
I was a fool playing by the
yeah,
rules.
yeah,
Yeah,
playing by the rules. Yes.
because
Like
I think that goes kind of. I know it comes later, but I think it kind of goes hand in hand, like with Jimmy, like in that montage. Like he was a fool playing by the rules because here he is
yeah,
doing this when I mean I know Nacho hasn't approached them yet, but here he is doing this when he could easily scam the Kennelmans. He knows they
yep,
have the
yep,
money,
yep.
you know. But
And
no,
Chuck tells him, what does he tell him? Follow the rules and rewards will come, but
and
he
he never.
gets nothing.
Yeah,
He gets no reward
and the
for
only
following the
time he
rules.
gets rewards is when he does the wrong thing. You know,
Yes.
like you have the whole world telling you you're no good. You're the kind of lawyer guilty people take. You have his own brother kind of looking down at him and scoffing at him. You see Howard thinks he's a joke. Like the only person who really gives him respect is Kim. You
Yeah,
know,
and that really shows what that does to a person.
yeah, man. It really just adds to Jimmy's frustration, man. But
Yeah,
I don't have much more to say. I feel like this one isn't as layered or dense as the
yeah.
pilot. Still a great episode, man. I probably give it like an 8 to an 8.5. Like it,
Oh yeah.
like the desert scenes carry, but there's a lot of great stuff going on in this episode.
Oh yeah, it's a very good episode.
Um, yeah, dude. I mean, the main takeaways is Raymond Cruz is a hell of a performer, man, and like the type of performance that he gives, like I said,
Hmm.
not just anybody can do that. Could you
Yeah.
see Bob Odenkirk giving that kind of performance? I don't think so.
No,
Uh,
no, definitely not.
Bryan Cranston, I mean, he kind of did it as Walter White, but it was a little different because, like I said,
Yeah.
the physicality of the role, the performance, the way he scrunches his eyes, the tone of his voice, the way he kind of like takes up the screen, like it's such a great physical performance. And of
Yeah.
course, Bob Odenkirk is fantastic. Him and Chuck, fantastic. Like so many great building blocks that we get here, and Nacho kind of
And
being
there's
that.
nothing that pisses me off is that people when they hate on Better Call Saul season 1 through like 3, because
Yeah.
honestly, those 3 seasons come with some of the best writing through the whole series.
Oh, I think the
You know?
writing is definitely the strongest in seasons 1 through
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
By season 4, things are starting to escalate so fast, and the writing is still
Mhm.
good, but like the character work you get between Saul and Chuck is just top tier.
Oh
And then
yeah.
his developing relationship with Kim, all the internal struggles Saul's going through, the development of Nacho, how we get to see more layers of him. I can't wait till we get to 5-0. Oh,
Dude.
I'm so excited to talk about 5-0.
Oh, such a good episode.
But like, there's so much going on in these first 3 seasons. But you know what, man? TikTok is full of kids. Kids don't have attention spans, as we all know.
Yeah.
But whatever. So, any
Yeah.
other final words you want to give this?
I think it's a really good episode. It's gonna be difficult for me to not just binge watch the entire show. This is gonna be hard for me to watch one episode a week.
You can if you want. Just take notes. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I
Yeah.
think I'll do that because
Definitely don't go
every
past the
time.
season we're on, though.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I just love watching Better Call Saul, man.
Especially season
It's so
one,
it's
dude.
so good.
Season 1 is so good.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this minisode, the first of many. Please make sure to rate us 5 stars if you can. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me and Badgie. All the links are in our bios. Are in the bio of this and on TikTok, Instagram, everything. So, yeah, guys, thank you for your support. And yeah, man, appreciate it. We're out.